Hey everyone, what's going on? So today I'm going to talk about how you're not inconsistent, you're just triggered. So I'm Sammy and I am a mindset coach and shadow alchemy guide. I have created the work I do from my own journey, from my own trauma and experiences. I used to be so angry and so miserable and never believed that I could have the life that I have today or the life that I want to have or any of those things. And I completely transformed my life. I've completely changed everything about me and the way I see my challenges and my struggles. And that's why I do this work now, because it's so important to me. I remember how hopeless I felt, how horrible I felt, how I was angry at myself and at everyone else all the time, and how I never even imagined that I could have a life that I would love. So I really want to help others be able to find that. I really want to help others be able to get past that and to know that there's nothing wrong with them at all. So today is about how you're not inconsistent, you're just triggered. Okay? Because so often we blame ourselves because we know all the right things to do. We know what we want to do. We have this passion or this desire, but then we still can't follow through or end up just repeating the same pattern. So I want to just normalize this, that you're not inconsistent, you're triggered. It's not your laziness or your lack of discipline. It's the fact that you're still in survival. You don't wake up and randomly decide to sabotage your goals. You don't just suddenly lose motivation for no reason, right? Something happens and your body reacts. You don't just decide, like, I woke up this morning and I decided I'm going to sabotage everything. That's not how it works. It's you're doing good, and then someone criticizes you. Or you're being consistent, but then you get overwhelmed. Or you're being confident, and then you feel rejected. Maybe you didn't even get rejected, but the situation reminded you of an experience where you were rejected. Or they just didn't say exactly the thing you wanted to hear. And now that confidence is just gone out of nowhere. See, it's a switch. It's not laziness. It's a pattern that you've been living in. See, when the pressure hits, we go into survival mode. We go into a protect mode. Our nervous system gets scared. We stop feeling safe. And then we react instead of choosing, because we don't, in reality, knowing how the brain works, actually have a chance to respond now. We're in fight, flight, or freeze. Not fight, flight, freeze, or respond. It's fight, flight, or freeze. And then after that, the shame kicks in. We feel horrible about the things we said, or the way we acted, or the fact that we didn't follow through. We didn't accomplish the things we wanted so badly to accomplish. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's not the reaction that is what's keeping us stuck. It's the shame after. And one thing that my favorite Kabbalah teacher said, David Guillaume, he said that the shame is so much worse than the actual act. Because we have this one moment where we have a lapse in judgment, or we can't control ourselves, we do the thing we didn't want to do, we say the thing we shouldn't have said, or whatever. But that shame that we feel afterwards, it goes on for days, weeks, years, a lifetime. So what is really like the bigger thing there? The bigger thing that took your energy, the bigger thing that was a negative thing. It was the shame. Because you overreacted. Because you shut down. Because you avoided something instead of confronting it. Because you snapped. Because you're still people pleasing. And here's the thing. Most people try to fix those behaviors. But the behavior isn't the root of the problem here. And if we don't get to the root, if we just band-aid it, we're not really going to see results. You might see some short-term results because you're inspired or you're motivated in the moment, but how long does it last? When you react and then you shame yourself, you start building an identity. And you start identifying as that person. I'm too emotional. I'm bad at relationships. I can't stay consistent. I always mess things up. And then this identity becomes the script that your life follows. Because anything that we connect I am to, anything that we say to ourselves over and over again that we identify with, that becomes our story. That's what we're telling ourselves. That's what we're telling our brain. That's what we're telling ourselves to focus on. So that's what we do. And that's no way to live. It sucks. I know. I've been there. If you don't interrupt the pattern, then you repeat the outcome. And that sucks. I did it for so long. Even after I started my business, I'd done so much healing and I thought I was in such a great place. And I was, don't get me wrong, I'm really proud of how far I'd come and everything. But I still hadn't completely found safety. I still hadn't completely left survival mode. There was still other things running the show. And I couldn't be consistent because of that. I couldn't get my business to grow because of that. And when I took a step back and I worked on that safety, I worked on all the aspects of myself and learned that like this life is possible, that I am safe to do this, that I am safe to have lots of money. Like until I realized those things didn't move. I couldn't be consistent. I literally wanted to so bad, and I would get so angry at myself. And then I tell myself, no, you can't be mad at yourself because, you know, I've done my healing and I'm more awakened now. But it was still really hard to do. I definitely was not able to do it completely. So, yeah. If you can start learning to catch the trigger in your body before the story starts, those things don't have to become your identity, or they don't have to continue to be your identity. So the key is seriously 90 seconds. That's all it takes to delay a reaction and to be able to respond instead of reacting to a situation. So, we catch the trigger in your body before the story starts, before we start telling ourselves, I always sabotage things. I always react in this bad way. I'm not good enough, or whatever it may be. And then we just need 90 seconds. We just need to delay it by 90 seconds. And we can do that by asking, what am I protecting right now? Don't ask, why am I like this? Ask, what am I protecting right now? Why am I being triggered this way? What am I trying to protect? That question changes everything, because it gives you your power back, for one. When you ask, why am I like this? You're giving your power to that situation and to that pattern. Hey, it's good to see you. But when we ask, what am I protecting? Instead, that starts bringing awareness to what's actually lying underneath the things. Triggers are protection. They're not personality flaws. They're something that we formed to keep us safe. And when we go into survival mode, it's not about choice. It's not about having the best life or the best relationship or the most money or any of our dreams or anything like that. It's about keeping us safe. And that's why at that point, we can only react instead of responding. Hi, Sean. Thanks for coming. I'm not going to be on here much longer. I have a meeting I've got to get to in just a minute. But I was talking about, our triggers and why, we're not inconsistent because we're lazy and things like that. So yeah, definitely check out the beginning of this video if you're interested. But yeah, we don't need to become softer. We're not like too much or anything. Like, everything we feel is valid. We need to just become more aware. So when we're triggered and we start to go into this reactive place, and instead we ask, what am I protecting? Instead of, why am I like this? You don't have to become softer. You can still get angry if the situation calls for you being angry, because there are times that it's necessary to get angry and do something about it. But in those situations, we want to respond, not react. We don't want to regret what we did or said later. We want to be proud of what we did, because we had a right to be angry. That situation called for that. And we chose to respond in a way that was productive, in a way that was safe, instead of reacting and flying off the handle and saying shit we don't mean. And then not only do we feel better about ourselves and we're proud of ourselves, but that's like literally just making the world a better place, because instead of being angry and reactive and acting some kind of way that might seem a little negative, we're instead able to shed light on a situation that is upsetting us, because we have a right to be upset about it. And that's just so much more productive in general and in the world. Like, there's enough negativity and bullshit going on. If we can start responding to things instead of reacting to them, things get so much easier and so much more peaceful. Trust me, my house, I've got 3 daughters, and my house is still a little loud and crazy, but it used to be so much more louder and so much more crazier, because I was so reactive, because everyone was walking on eggshells around me and everything set me off. And I didn't get softer. I'm still just as wild and crazy. But I learned how to respond instead of react. Survival mode reacts and sovereignty chooses. And that is what my work is really about lately. See, survival says that we have to defend, we have to prove, we need to shut down or attack. But sovereignty says we can pause, we can decide, we can respond, and we can lead. Self-leadership isn't about being calm all the time. It's about choosing even when you're activated, even when you're feeling stressed or angry or upset. Because just pushing those things away is not the answer. That's only going to cause more problems later. And this is exactly why I created Trigger Alchemy. It's not therapy, and it's not mindset fluff. It's not just affirmations. It's learning how to recognize triggers, interrupt the pattern, and rebuild self-trust in yourself. That way that you can move from reaction to leadership. And then you don't ever have to worry about continuing to feel shame, because you don't have to feel it in the first place. Because I also teach you how, when you do react instead of responding, how to not feel shameful about it. So if you know you're tired of repeating the same emotional patterns, that's what we work on. But yeah, just last but not least, want to say you are not broken, you are patterned, and patterns can be changed. I am a living testimony to that. A few years ago, I was on 10 different medications, lots for mental health, and really, they weren't working. I was so angry, I was so in a bad place, and my life's so different now. I'm on no medications now, not that don't come out of the ground. And yeah, it's just it's amazing. It challenges the way I look at them in my head now is crazy. So if this resonated, then send me a message that says alchemy, and we'll talk about whether this work is right for you. Yeah. Much love to all of you. Thank you for joining me. Aw, that's awesome, Sean. So you've got lots of females. You know what all that female energy is like. My house gets loud, and my two oldest are 16 months apart, so it gets crazy. But yeah, alright. Thank you all for watching, and I'm gonna see you all later. I've got to go get on this coaching call. Bye.